A woman is left for dead inside a wrecked car. Police say it was her 21-year-old boyfriend, Michael Campbell, who abandoned her there. Early Sunday morning, Campbell, the driver, police say swerved off the road, slamming into a stoplight. According to a witness, he got out and ran away, leaving 20-year-old Rhea Patel trapped in the car. But then get this, he came back, says the witness, dug around in the car for his phone, then left again, telling the witness, by the way, to call 911. She already had. Rhea was still in that wreckage. When police arrived, they were able to free her from the passenger seat. She was pronounced dead, however, at the scene. Friends say the two had been together at a party where Campbell was seen drinking, some describing him as super drunk, others saying it wasn't clear if he was intoxicated. We can tell you, though, Campbell has a long record of driving violations. He was arrested 2 days after this accident on Tuesday and charged with vehicular homicide and hit and run.
Now that he's found, it's good. Some relief for us.
From the beginning, not really a big fan of him, and that was pretty consistent, I would say, throughout all of our friends.
Joining me now, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor, Bob Bianchi. So, Bob, when we look at this, I mean, the witness, and I'm looking at the release here about the charges, 2 witnesses, actually, but the woman describes very clearly that she saw this. She calls 911. She sees him leave, come back. She says he roots around in the driver's side, gets the phone, runs off, and tells her to call 911. Another witness seeing him run. How damaging is that?
It's really damaging for a number of reasons. First of all, it proves a potential vehicular homicide case, as well as leaving the scene of the accident. But a prosecutor looks at each of these cases and says, was this just an immediate reaction, something that somebody was so frightened, but not here, because he actually comes back in order to protect himself by getting the phone and leaves her for a second time. As a prosecutor, I'm looking at with that and his previous driving record and him being on probation for a hit and run and leaving the scene of another accident. And I'm taking it all the way to the bank with this guy.
And we're hearing, I mean, just to paint the picture of this poor woman, we're looking at the details that we have, again, from the police, and they're describing how the entire passenger side was pushed in. The roof had collapsed.
Right.
You look at that, and then there are also, you know, reports that they were at a party earlier, that maybe he'd been seen drinking. But it's been 2 days by the time he's arrested, so there's not going to be any sort of a test for his blood alcohol level. Can or will any of that come into play?
That's a great question. I mean, obviously, prosecutors want to have a blood alcohol level because in the state of Minnesota, anything over a .08 is almost presumed by law to be driving recklessly, and it would help build that homicide case. But they have testimony of witnesses. They have people saying he was super drunk, and he confessed that he had been drinking. Prosecutors will combine the drinking, speeding, the going through the red light, his previous record, and they will use all of that information in order to prosecute him under this statute.
What will they also be looking at in terms of his phone record? Because if he went back to get his phone, I would imagine they want to see what kind of activity has been on that phone from that time until he was arrested Tuesday.
Sure. Prosecutors and police are going to do a whole timeline for him for the day before and the day after. They're going to look at all electronic data. They're going to look at text messages. And they'll also, Erica, because this is a big problem, they're going to be seeing whether he was texting or using social media while he was driving, because that is distracted driving. And that could be a basis alone for a vehicular homicide charge.
It's just such a horrible case. And at the end of the day, of course, we know the worst part of it is this young woman lost her life.
Yeah, you know, these cases I found as a prosecutor to be the most difficult cases to deal with, because usually, typically, you're dealing with kids who otherwise are leading law-abiding lives. They make a mistake, and not only is it a tragic mistake for the victim's family, for this girl's family, but it is for the kid, too, because their life is done. But I'm not sympathetic with this particular individual based upon his previous record and the fact that he actually went back to get the phone in order to cover up his crime and leave the girl dead for a second time. To me, as a prosecutor, as I like to say many times, no bueno.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Bob, always good to see you. Thank you. Appreciate it.